Hi, my name's Steve Bowes. We're here at HR Tech, live from Las Vegas. I'm here with Nickle LaMoreaux. She's the Senior Vice President and CHRO at IBM. We're going to talk about the hottest topic today in HR, which is, of course, AI and AI agents. First of all, Nickle, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's nice to see you again.
It is great to see you again. We had a similar conversation a few months back at South by Southwest, and I wonder if everything's the same or everything's even changed in 6 months. Things are going so rapidly with AI, especially in HR. It's a remarkable pace.
Absolutely. And to think about 6 months ago, we were talking about generative AI. All the focus was there. Now we're talking about AI agents. It feels like a totally different storyline.
Yeah, and you guys at IBM were so far ahead of the curve probably here in the AI and HR conversation. And you're here at HR Tech to share a lot of those experiences and help HR leaders who are here kind of think about how they can approach these problems in their organization. So the framework you've selected for your keynote is myths, mayhem, and monumental moments, which is really cool. So first off, let's just start with, without giving everything away, what's a myth that you guys encountered in your sort of journey of transformation with AI?
Yeah, one of the first myths is that AI runs wild. You've got to worry about bias. It creates a life of its own. You totally lose control. And as you and I have talked before, Steve, can the technology do that? Sure.
Yeah.
But we're still, as HR leaders, kind of the masters, the captains of our own destiny. And we get to decide where we use AI, where we don't use AI. So that's one of the first myths that I'd like to bust right away, because I think this whole bias conversation gets in there, and there's ways to mitigate that with technology. But remember, your organization, you get to use it where and when you want to, and where and when you don't.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sure there's a couple more myths that you'll be sharing in your keynote, but let's then jump to say, hey, what was a mayhem, or maybe for lack of an internal sticking point, some resistance, maybe what came up during the implementation that, okay, we've got to figure this out?
It's okay to call it mayhem. One of the things early on is we really wanted to create this creator culture, lots of experimentation. So we gave, our employees full access to, what were AI assistants at that time. And I will tell you, we got a lot of innovation and a lot of creativity. After a while, I joked that we're like a bad science fiction movie. There were bots running around all over. And so this idea of making sure that you have the right governance, what do you want the entry points to be? Because you can create a lot of experiments, but if your employees don't know how to navigate them, it can become total mayhem.
And a little bit counterproductive. I would imagine some frustration could set in too if a tool's not maybe producing the results someone expected because it wasn't really aligned with, say, some of the important goals of the organization.
Absolutely. And maybe the other point too is, what if they don't know where to find it?
Yeah.
If you've got, hundreds of agents running around or assistants running around, which assistant do I go to for which question or which transaction? So that's the other part that you've got to manage around as well.
Yeah, and imagine in a large organization like yours, but other larger organizations as well. Here we're talking probably a key partnership between the HR leaders and their IT cohorts, right? Just to try to work hand in hand together, right? To kind of keep this all going in the same direction.
Absolutely. And I know there are a lot of different models out there. We're seeing some organizations that are actually bringing HR and IT together.
Yeah, there's been some of that.
Yeah. And my view is that's an okay solution. But regardless of what the org structure is, you need to have this partnership between HR and IT. Some of it's because the IT is moving so fast, so you need experts that stay on top of it. But IT, for the sake of IT, doesn't help you. It doesn't help your employees. So having the domain expertise layered on top is very important.
Yeah, and it's been interesting for traditionally, right? In HR, we used to like to complain about our friends in IT that we were always sort of the bottom of the totem pole when it came to IT resources, internal assistance, development time, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's spun around completely.
Totally agree. And I think some of it's because HR professionals have gotten better about articulating the business case, the return on investment, which is really important. But I also think IT departments understand the leverage, the growth that you can drive in an organization by putting it into HR talent processes.
Yeah, right. Maybe finally, after all these years, it's finally sinking in that, hey, the most important thing we have in this organization are the people. Right?
Absolutely.
Let's invest in them. Let's talk a little bit about Ask HR, right, which was implemented at IBM, still in place. A stat I found was that it handles over 11 million interactions a year. It might be more now. I don't know. That was a few months ago. 94% resolution rate, which is remarkable as well. So first off, how did you didn't jump right to there. So talk a little bit about the journey along the way to sort of build the trust required to get so many people turning to Ask HR for help, and then, of course, getting the results that they want.
Absolutely. So we started with this vision that Ask HR was going to be a high-end chatbot.
Okay.
You could ask it talent questions, and we knew that the more people we got going into it, the more AI would learn. And that was really our vision for Ask HR, and that was it. We had a little bit of a bumpy ride to get there because AI does need time to learn and you need people using it. But as we started using the technology, we also realized that this AI assistant could be a pretty interesting interface to help us do transactions.
Okay.
Very simple API call-ups, but rather than going into a system to do it, you would have a conversation with an assistant. And then that helped us quickly bridge into agentic AI. And so that's kind of the journey that we've been building there. But it really, in the beginning, started from a very humble ambition of just answering questions 24/7 as quickly as possible.
And then letting sort of the technology help you, guide you, and take you, hey, maybe there's opportunities for more higher value kinds of transactions.
Exactly.
Speaking of higher value transactions, so it's a good segue by me. I've been doing enterprise tech for a long time. You've been involved in enterprise tech as in your roles as an HR leader for a long time. We have been talking literally forever about, this bit of technology, this is the one that's now going to free up all our people to focus on the real high value added stuff. We've been saying that forever. And I feel bad about saying it in 2003 because it didn't really happen. Yeah. But I think it is happening now. And certainly, I'd love for you to share your thoughts on it. Hey, is AI really the tool or the set of capabilities if with the right governance, with the right direction, with the right kind of guardrails in place, the right change management, et cetera, really start like unleashing HR to do some of that real high value added, interesting work that we want to do?
Absolutely. And the reason why I think about that is that AI allows highly customized work at scale at an affordable price point. And as you think about some of that other technology that we've talked about over time, it was, these kind of monolith platforms that were going to kind of solve employee experience, but they were expensive.
Yeah.
And in order to kind of go into them, you had to be highly standardized and you couldn't deal with different employee groups or countries around the world. So it got more expensive. But AI is the technology that allows you to do this customization at scale. Again, like I said, at an affordable price point that really changes the game and why I think it does free then HR professionals up to do different work.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've probably seen that, right, in your own organization.
Absolutely. I will tell you, since we've implemented Ask HR, the average band at IBM, level, grade, whatever the nomenclature is in your organization, has increased by 2.
Wow.
So we're not just doing this transactional work.
Right.
HR business partners aren't answering basic FAQs. They're doing leadership coaching.
Right. Yeah.
They're doing workforce planning.
Right.
That's a totally different level of value that we add to the organization than just kind of the basic, here's how you do this.
Yeah, I love it. Nick, the last question I'll have for you, and we'll let you go and get ready for your keynote ourselves, is for folks, and I think you'll probably be addressing this in the keynote, for folks in HR who obviously know about AI, they've heard about AI, they've probably used it in their personal life as well, but maybe not quite there yet, incorporating that into HR practices in their organization. Just a couple of pieces of advice you might have for them as they maybe begin their journey.
Maybe 2 pieces of advice. The first one is you don't have to do big bang. I think as HR leaders, when we think about technology transformations in our organization, we think of, multi-million-dollar, 2-year projects that you unveil to the organization. AI gives you an ability to really start small, think of very small use cases that can have a quick return in your organization. And so that's what I would say. You don't have to go big bang. And maybe the second one is really try to avoid FOMO. I think that there's a lot of views out there of, oh, this company is doing this with AI, that means we have to do it.
Yeah.
Or my competitor's doing this with AI, that means I have to.
Or my vendor's banging on my door telling me about AI.
And everybody's doing this, so that means I have to. And I think what's important is to think about the fact that in order for AI to have a return in your organization, it has to fit the business model of your company. Mm-hmm. It has to fit the talent model of your company. And it has to fit the culture of your company. And so really find the use case that's going to have the impact for you. Don't worry about copying others.
Yeah, I love it. Nickle, great stuff. I want to remind folks, you can go out to IBM.com and search for HR agents. There's loads of data out there, and track you down on LinkedIn. You're a great follow there as well. You're sharing lots of great insight and information about AI as well as the IBM journey too.
Absolutely.
Great stuff, Nickle. Great to see you again.
Yes.
I'll see you again soon. Thank you so much. All right. Thanks everybody for listening. Remember to go to hrhappyhour.net for all the show archives and subscribe and tell a friend. Thank you so much. We'd like to thank IBM for their partnership on this conversation.